We're going to explain the URL not found error in your Flask application. This frustrating error, often shown as a 404 error, means your Flask app can't find the page a user is trying to access. Let's look at the common causes and how to fix them. 1. Incorrect URL. This is the most obvious reason. A simple typo in the URL, a missing parameter, or an incorrect path can all lead to a 404. Double-check your links to make sure they accurately reflect the routes you've defined in your Flask app. 2. Route misconfiguration. In your Flask app, you define routes using the @app.route decorator. If you've made a mistake in defining the route, for instance, using the wrong path or forgetting to specify a method, get, post, etc., and Flask won't be able to match the incoming URL request to any of your defined routes, resulting in a 404. 3. Missing route. You might simply forget to define a route for a specific URL. If a user tries to access a page that doesn't have a corresponding route defined in your app.py file, a 404 is unavoidable. Make sure you've added a route to handle all the URLs you expect your users to access. 4. Case sensitivity. URLs are case sensitive. If you've defined a route like wa about, but the user types wa about, they'll get a 404 error. Be mindful of case when you are defining your routes. 5. Static files. If you are serving static files, like images, CSS, JavaScript, make sure they are correctly configured. Flask needs to know where to find these files. A common error is forgetting to use the static URL path parameter in the Flask constructor, or incorrectly configuring the paths in your templates. 6. Deployment issues. If your app is deployed on a server, the issue might be a misconfiguration on the server side, such as an incorrect web server configuration, or a problem with the virtual environment. Check your server's logs for any clues. 7. Debugging. Flask's debugging mode can be incredibly helpful. When enabled, it provides detailed error messages, making it much easier to identify the source of 404 errors. Enable debugging using apt-run debug true. During development, just remember to disable it in production. 8. Using the correct method. Remember that HTTP methods like get, post, put, and delete matter. A route defined only for GET request will return a 404 if accessed with a POST request. Ensure your routes support the intended methods. 9. Redirects. If a page has moved, you can use Flask to implement redirects. This will return a 301 or 302 status code, giving the user the correct URL and preventing a 404. By systematically checking these points, you can effectively troubleshoot and resolve URL not found errors in your Flask applications. Remember to always check your code carefully and utilize Flask's debugging feature.